We call out both Democrats and Republicans on this channel. It just so happens Joe Biden's been in office 3 years now, the Biden administration. I called out the other administration. I call out Republicans in Congress. Just so happens that their policies and procedures affect the business world and with regards to real estate, finance, entrepreneurship. So we need to talk about some of these things. So, Biden admits prices are too high, but ducks the blame for inflation. Biden said in an address, wages for working families have gone up while inflation has come down 65%. Ladies and gentlemen, the real numbers, prices have gone up by 17.6% since Biden took office, while real wages have declined by 3%. I've done videos on this in the past. So the key takeaways from this presentation, I want to just delve into top line. Most people surveyed said they would have had a hard time paying their bills if their paycheck was delayed by a week. The number jumped significantly from last year. And number 3, consumers are becoming more pessimistic about the economy. So CNBC, not Fox News, reported this, folks. Roughly 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck going into the holiday season. It's almost 65%. That's according to a recent Lending Club report. Also, CNBC reported on this. Pausing your use of credit cards can be a scary move if you've made them your daily habit instead of, a debit card. Don't let the media trick you into thinking everything is okay. Everything is not okay going into this holiday season. Everything is more expensive, 41-year high on inflation, no wage growth in 40 years. What are the members of Congress doing all day, for God's sake? Stealing your money, ladies and gentlemen. 65 million Americans only have $400 in savings for an emergency out of 330 million. Half of America says the holiday season puts them deeper into debt. So the holiday shopping season is expected to see increased spending. People want to be the big shots, with many consumers planning to overspend and take on more debt. Remember, 227 million credit cards were opened up in the last 2 years. This holiday spending during Thanksgiving week may hit a record as consumers try to maximize the weekend deals. According to a 2023 Deloitte Black Friday Cyber Monday sale, I'd never stand in line for that crap. Spending over the week is expected to jump 13% from last year, with shoppers shelling out $567 on average. Additionally, 74% of Americans are stressed about their finances, and many households have tapped into their savings and 401ks to cover expenses. So while consumers have found a way to manage somewhat through inflation, it's concerning that many plan to tap into savings and use those credit cards and even exceed their budgets to be the big shot to finance that holiday purchases and trips, which may leave them vulnerable to unexpected emergency, which might come down the road, and get ready for 24. So the Biden administration's economic policies are facing criticism as voters express concern about economic challenges and declining confidence in the president's ability to handle the economy. So Bidenomics, folks, nearly 2/3 of Americans, as I said, are living paycheck to paycheck. Kamala Harris did a talk and she knows this, but no big deal. It's very sad that this is going on in America. So despite the propaganda of a media apologist and cherry picking of small sets of data points that appear temporarily uplifting, voters clearly understand their tough economic times and place. They blame squarely upon Biden and his allies. Americans are not stupid, ladies and gentlemen. Something does not feel right, smell right, taste right. Everything is different right now. Something in the air, and everyone knows it. They just can't put their finger on it. But 2024 is going to be a scary and dangerous year. We have people that crave power over money and will do anything to keep it. In fact, in separate, polling from Gallup going back 7 decades, Republicans have never before enjoyed a larger edge on the primary issue of of the day, the economy. Combining that survey with the new law poll in battleground states, the harsh reality of economic anxiety has become clear. Remember, it's the economy, stupid, during election season. The engine of the U.S. economy, consumer spending, is starting to sputter greatly. Retail purchases have fallen in 3 of the past 4 months. Americans' painful economic reality is a far cry from Joe Biden's out-of-touch spin. While President Biden claims that his economic policies are working, give me a break, pal. Americans still struggling with high inflation are pulling back on spending, and falling into debt. Some aren't pulling back from the data I looked at. They're going to go all in. So President Biden keeps boasting that the Biden economic plan is actually working and families are breathing just a little bit easier right now. He did a talk on it. The White House press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, the president and vice president, she said, will travel to Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. They will discuss the progress we have made and the work implementing the Biden-Harris economic agenda. This is recently. That continues, she says, to deliver results for the American people. I mean, what does she promise to get up there and lie like that? And if you think about his economic plan, it is working. It is indeed working. More Americans are leaning on their credit cards in the face of rising prices. And as interest rates continue to climb, the debt is getting a lot more expensive. The average credit card user was carrying a balance of $5,474 last fall, according to TransUnion, up 13% from 2021. With inflation outpacing incomes, more people are relying on credit cards to cover everyday expenses. Multiple polls show American consumers sinking deeper into credit card debt. A new survey from Bankrate, the consumer finance company, found 46% of cardholders carrying credit card balances for month to month, up from 39% a year ago. A survey by NerdWallet, the personal finance company, found the average households carrying over $8,000 in credit card debt, and they said they might be off. Looks like it's higher. 29% increase from a year earlier. Bottom line, it's up 30%. A third poll from the personal finance website Go Banking Rates found that 16 million Americans owe more than $10,000 in credit card debt. Soaring inflation has played out in other ways regarding American finances, ladies and gentlemen. 41% of Americans said they stopped saving for retirement in 2022. The last 3 years, this guy has done damage, as increased costs for expenses had a significant impact on their budgets and savings, according to a survey released by the U.S. News and World Report. So meanwhile, roughly 1/3 of the 2,000 workers surveyed said they dipped into their retirement funds last year. Big time. Going into the 401k. Survey data shows a clear correlation between the rise of inflation and Americans' delayed or altered retirement plans. It's game over. The Heritage Foundation, I look at both sides. They're really reputable. Heritage Foundation pulled some economic data and responded by sharing economic changes that have taken place since Biden was elected. Right when he was elected, they looked at his executive orders and everything, and they just took a holistic approach here. Since President Biden took office, Americans have faced increasingly higher prices for food, gas, and other common household items. And while prices have been going up, wages have been going down, placing additional stress on family finances. Also, they talked about shutting down our energy day one in office, which is what Joe Biden did. Had an effect. It wasn't COVID. It wasn't the Russian war. Give me a break. He shut down our energy day one in office. So it is very alarming. We talked about the key takeaways. Everything is more expensive. 41-year high, no wage growth in 40 years. We blame other administrations on no wage growth in 40 years. Both parties spend like drunken sailors. Trump passed those ominous spending bills. Mitch McConnell was putting the hammer down on him, and then Trump comes out and says, well, I'll never pass that again. But you shouldn't have. You should have fought him. But they went in there, and all that pork that was in there, all the spending that he did, and Joe Biden is up the ante. So I blame both parties on that. And, war brings money. When the economy's bad, we want to give those defense contractors money. I believe in everyone making a little bit, but we don't need to be greedy here, and it's getting out of hand. We're just writing checks. Less than 30%, ladies and gentlemen, of that money goes to weapons for Ukraine. And Ukraine has lost the war. I've been saying it for a year and a half. I did a video ago a year and a half. I remember seeing all the Ukrainian flags in LA and everywhere. Now I don't see them on people's houses because people don't know. They listen to the news and you don't study. You don't know about 2014 in Ukraine. You don't know that Ukrainian people were suffering greatly before Russia went in. Half of Ukraine is Russia. Did you know that Russia was founded in Ukraine? They're entitled to that eastern territory. The Russian people want it. And the bottom line is, Putin's been saying since 2007-8, don't expand NATO. This head of the CIA knows about it. They've known about it for years, and we've expanded NATO. We had NATO to take down the Soviet Union. Soviet Union was taken down in 1991-92. Should have disbanded NATO. But on K Street, they don't want to talk about that. Too many people make money on it. But it's an honest discussion to have. So I would argue, if we didn't expand NATO to his borders, we wouldn't have the problem we had. Just like Khrushchev put missiles in Cuba, what did the United States do? Russia has the largest nuclear reserves in the world. They are a superpower. They have a huge territory, and George Soros, of course, would like to get their natural resources. We have to respect them. We have to play ball with them on the field. We have to live with them, in my opinion. The greatest existential threat to the United States of America is not Russia, it's China. 100% true. The Russian army does not want to march across Europe. They don't have the manpower to do it. They don't want to do it. They want to be left alone. Okay, but they always said Ukraine needs to be neutral. Follow the tea leaves. Go back 20 years. I did. I read all the articles, and Victoria Nuland and her leaked phone call picking the government, before we did a coup in 2014. So there's a lot of moving parts here. So these wars, to put a bow on this, have cost American taxpayers a lot of money and put this economy into a free-for-all. Let me also say about credit cards. I believe in credit cards when they're used smartly. For example, I didn't want to touch my stocks or sell a property or do a HELOC. Credit cards right now, because they're trying to get you, let's say they're offering, and I have good credit, so I have access, let's say $200,000 of credit. 6 credit cards. They're offering me 18%, 0% interest. I took $50,000 8 months ago. 0% for 16 months. And I bought a condo with it. Using my credit card. I'm going to pay it off. So I got to move some stuff around. I'm going to pay it off next year, March. That's the way you use a credit card. I'm going to buy a condo, and it's going to give me $400 cash flow a month. You're like, $400? It's $400, baby. I'll take it. I'll take it off someone else's other people's money. But 227,000 credit cards have been 227 million credit cards have been opened in the last 2 years. That's concerning. People are living on credit. It's not a healthy economy when half of America only has $400 in savings. The Biden administration knows about it. They kind of laughed about it because that's more money for them at the top. But I mean, when you look at that, it's a tragedy. When you look at our cities, it's a tragedy. And, we're throwing all this money to foreign countries. We'll give money to protect Ukraine's border, but not our border. Our cities are falling apart. And we got 100+ nationalities coming across our border. And I've been down there, and I get video from friends down there. It is a nightmare. And I feel sorry for the Border Patrol, but they've been told to stand down. So we got a lot of problems right now, and then we're going into 24. It's going to be an election year. A lot of propaganda is going to be coming. Who knows what's going to happen? Riots, who knows? Because people, ladies and gentlemen, you have to follow the power and you have to follow the money. And then you know what's going to happen. So get ready. Get ready. It's the Hunger Games. Take care.